Yeah, I can't get the index match to work on 16.
Not 16. Well, let's start with 15, and then
Yeah.
we'll move to 16.
Just so you guys know, I complained so bad about this class to the appropriate channels.
And how did that go?
Well, my advisor sent me to online learning or whatever. I haven't heard a response back yet. So I'll keep you posted.
All right. So I guess my biggest issue with 15 was like making it look nice because everything had to be like different colors and everything.
So let me just tell you right now, I didn't care how it looked. I just did exactly what they said to me. And they even said that the professional blah, blah, blah is going to be a little bit more relaxed on this one. So I'm like, good. I got them exactly what they wanted. I didn't care really to organize it that well and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I have the tables up top and then the splashers in the middle and then the graphs down below that. So,
I put the tables on the left-hand side, my slicers across the top, because that's really where you want to select stuff at. You don't want to keep scrolling down. And then my charts are on the right and at the bottom. So, and each one is different colored and because I mean, honestly, when you try, typically for me, what looks professional may not be what looks professional to you. But one of the things for me, if I'm going to have a bunch of graphs in a spreadsheet, I'm going to try and go with the same theme of colors, if you will. Here, they wanted everything to be a different color. Well, it just looks like a big conglomerate of crap. So, just do what they ask and make it the way they want to see it, and then call it good after that.
Hi, sorry.
Hey.
What are you sorry for, Lisa?
For being late. My calling is state public affairs. We were having a meeting, so.
Well, that's all right. Tony's just getting here too, so we won't hate everybody all at once. Oh, no, he's just back again.
Sorry, guys. How's it going?
We're not talking to you. You're late.
I know. I was at a young women's mutual that ran over.
Those guys with their church responsibilities.
Those kids have no respect.
None. Well, the worst part was my president showed up late and left early and left me and the other counselor to clean everything up. So.
Okay, so on a side note, have you ever heard of a president getting released and the counselors not?
No.
Yeah, that's me right now. Our president moved out of the ward and he got released 2 weeks ago. And I am still the first counselor. They did not release me or the second counselor.
For elders quorum?
No, for young men's.
Ooh, that's painful.
So guess how many phone calls I've got this week?
A lot.
I'm in nursery.
I love nursery. I'll do nursery any day of the week.
I've never had a primary calling except for the one time when I was the 11-year-old scout leader, which is the best calling in the church, hands down.
Oh, the Cub committee chair was. Once a month, and you're done.
Yeah, but see, then that opens you up for assignments. Lisa, we would like you to take on an additional assignment. All right, so we're going over Project 15. I guess the thing to ask is, did anybody have problems with it? We're going to throw out making it look pretty. That's not a question. Make it look however you want, and we'll go from there as long as you follow the instructions. So,
way nicer than mine.
Well, I need to see somebody's, like, where do you put the graph in relation to the tables? Because there's so many, and I can't get it to fit on, like, without scrolling. So what did everybody do with the graphs that they made for each table?
I put mine at the very bottom.
So I will say this,
Tony.
They did say that each graph had to have a different color.
Oh, I saw each pivot table had a different color.
So
Dang
the
it.
graph has to have a different color too.
Oh my goodness.
I know. That's why I said throw making it
That's
look
what I
good
said.
out the window.
What?
Yeah,
But
let's
you
just-
did a very good job of making it look very pretty.
How do I do that again? How do I change the color of the pivot table?
Hold on. For the pivot tables, you go up here, you go to design, you hit this drop down, and you just choose one of the several that they have.
I'm just, it's making it so much better.
Did they say put a title across the top like that?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, because I was like, crap, did I forget that?
Well, so you don't have to have the graph next to the table?
No.
I didn't say to.
Nope.
Hey,
Perfect.
right
I
about
put mine
now.
next to the table, but I don't really care.
Okay.
Tony, that looks absolutely hideous. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I should, I know.
I would fire you if you presented that to me.
Hey, don't take my line now.
Exactly. I was waiting for you to say that. Hey, that's what my boss says.
No, I said, what was that? Oh, I said if anyone submitted something that had VLOOKUPs with a random column formula in the middle, I would probably fire him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That the only reason I'm going to go against what we were taught this week, the only time you should ever use the column function in a VLOOKUP formula is if you are referencing the specific column you need, and it's always column parentheses -1, because the VLOOKUP you'll have to subtract 1 to account for how it's set up. But it's always column -1. The fact that they taught you to just put it in any random column, and I almost fell off my chair. I was absolutely appalled that they would even suggest that in a business Excel class. I was appalled. Sorry. Okay.
So
I'm
hang
done
on.
ranting.
Hey, Tony, I got a question right now for you, buddy.
Sure.
It seems to me like you've got the first chart. I don't recall them asking to sort it by city. And you have the cities added in for the first chart. The cities didn't come into play until the second chart.
These might actually not be in order. I want to say this was. I know
Like the
for a
first
fact
one was
my
just
pivot
a
table's
percentage, a response percentage based on their favorite flavor, and a percentage of the total. That's all the first chart wanted.
Okay, why did you use decimals on some of your charts?
Because you needed to.
just this one.
Yeah,
No,
there's
it said
yep,
that-
that's the average one is the one that needs to have decimals in it.
Yeah, just the one.
Why do you need, because it says don't use decimals.
It says don't use them unless they're necessary. And in that one chart, if you don't use them, all the numbers are 2. Well, that doesn't tell you anything. So by giving it 1 decimal point, then you can see what the actual averages are.
Okay, I'll go back and correct mine. What?
Somebody's got some forum discussion posts they need to comment on.
I do.
What?
You see his little
His
message
name.
board post up there on his screen?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm stalking Tony's page. Sorry.
Yep. I know. That's what I get for screen sharing everything. Hold on, we're gonna go, and this is probably aimed at more of the younger crowd. Screen looker.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means. So
If you've ever played a first-person shooter game with a bunch of kids all on one TV, and you have the one kid that's always hiding where no one else would find him, the
gotcha.
only way you're going to find him is if you're screen looking, which means you glance over at his to see where he's hiding.
See, I'm a PC gamer. That kind of stuff doesn't happen.
Oh, I beg to differ, but
Not well. I'm the only one in my office, so there's. If you're not in my office playing games with me.
so you think,
Oh,
There's,
no, I
there's
know.
always that go through the internet, find the loop, and view what you're viewing type of deal. DDS attacks, there you go.
It doesn't happen on my system.
All right, which mini project are we on today?
15 right there.
I gotta go back and look at that.
And don't forget, next Wednesday,
Test is due.
exam is due.
Exam. I haven't even looked at it.
No, I haven't either.
Yeah, me either.
That's about all we can say about it, so y'all hush up.
Oh, you could say if you did it already.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't hear that, and I'm not listening. He may have given a clue away right then.
Mine's all done, everything. I'm all over it.
You know,
Yeah.
pride cometh
Nice.
cometh before the fall, Lisa.
Dude,
Oh,
what is
your
going
internet
on?
connection is amazing.
You know what's funny is I actually pulled 400 frames per second down. I mean 400 frames per second. Wow, 400.
That would be
megabytes
pretty
per
impressive.
second down. My VPN was actually what's causing. This is a work laptop, and it's the VPN down here. That's what's
Gotcha.
causing my issues right now. All right, number 1, create a table that counts. Hold on, I won't read that out loud to you guys. Wow, I have no idea why I pulled the cities into this.
I'm just trying to help you out, brother.
I
There's
appreciate
one
it.
that needs the city. That looks like another map I did, table I did.
No, but that's not the first one, and that's what he was checking on.
Oh,
Store can go away, and that just made my whole thing look hideous.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I've won.
I appreciate that so much right now.
His OCD is totally kicking in. His eyes twitching right now.
You have no idea.
That's great.
That was the worst thing you could have ever done. You should
know,
turn it in and get
Misery
it
loves
wrong.
company, and my day has been made perfect now. I can go to sleep
Ah.
happy.
If it makes you
perfect grade. I mean, they'll never.
I will say this though, Tony. I really love the banner across the top. The gradient fill, the color. Excellent.
I was trying to go with that Neapolitan look.
I could tell, and that's what I was going to go with. There's no green in there, but that's fine. I prefer those kind of funky Neapolitan type things. Rainbow sherbet. That's what it reminds me of.
There you go. Dude, I don't know what's going on with this computer today.
It's got to be operator error.
User
It
error.
has to be.
These files that they give us are just cause my computer so many problems.
Oh, this looks hideous. I'm so mad right now. I can't even like merge and center to make it look a
Nope.
bit nicer. I'm so mad at you right
But
now.
Hey, don't be mad at me because you didn't read the detailed instructions properly.
Hey, mine has the count too. It has the percentages, but the count on the first graph. It's not supposed to have the count.
No, the count is supposed to be shown as a percentage of the total.
That was worth a shot.
Oh, shoot me now. I did my first one wrong then too.
So what you see there on Tony's screen is correct. Or at least that's what I got. So I won't say it's correct, but I'm going to concur with him.
That ruined everything. I'm so mad right now.
He's going to lose sleep over this.
You have no idea because I literally had everything the same size,
looked
and now
great,
like the
man.
graphs
It so
are
looked good.
different. Oh, I hate you so much.
Hey, you know what you could do is you could just take something off to the right, color it the same, and put a text box in there that says Casey sucks.
Yeah, I should. P.S. This is I'm a submit too. This is the one I thought looked good. This is the one that Casey pointed out I did everything wrong and had to turn in this piece of crap.
I would pay money to see that. Oh my goodness.
So hold on, we're going to completely go off the trail here. Let me tell you how my day went. So I have 3 people underneath me that are not supposed to sign off on anything until I have signed off on it. And while I'm out of the office and on property at one of our hotels today, one of the ladies decides that she tested this new software, sent it back to the vendor, said everything failed. My director, not my manager, my director calls me asking me if I signed off on it. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. He then tells me that what this person did and sent it back to the vendor. The vendor then responded saying everything she tested, she did wrong. So now I have to go in tomorrow and redo all of her tests and figure out why she took it upon herself to reach out to our vendor before I ever signed off on it.
Are you going to have her head chopped off?
I'm about right there today.
Off with her head.
Yeah, that's pretty much the sum up my day. And then Casey went and messed with my whole freaking graph. My whole assignment looks like terrible now. I wonder if I can move my slicers in somehow. The feng shui is all off. Freaking Casey, man.
See what happens when you don't give me my freaking Ferris wheel passes?
I hate you right now.
That's right.
Now you're not allowed back to Vegas, period.
Ever. I've been
Now I'm wondering
blacklisted.
what other chart I have wrong.
All right, let's go.
Let's get serious again. Does anybody else have any questions about this?
Can I see the first one again?
That really pretty blue one there that's a little
Yeah.
off center?
Thanks.
I don't know how to get
This
that.
guy,
that out.
the digs all over the place.
I don't know how to get the I don't like ice cream.
So if you select the filter and row level there, you can select which ones you do and do not want to see.
Oh, there we go.
You're not supposed to see other.
No, you can have other. You don't have to put what they put in the other column.
Right.
So going back to the other column.
You'll see up here, there's two side by side.
Hold on. So if they put other, please specify. If you notice, I killed the words please specify. And they liked pie flavor. This person liked melon flavor. This person liked bubblegum flavor. So you don't have to put the flavor that they chose for other, but you do need to include the word other. I would just recommend taking out those words please specify. To do that, all you have to do is come up here and edit it.
Type in a space and then delete the rest.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
please do not specify.
Don't leave that in there. Or leave it in there. That would be great.
Other.
Casey messed my spreadsheet up.
He messed up this whole thing.
My feng shui.
If you saw mine, it would drive you absolutely nuts because it's just so not feng shui, as you put it.
This little Google Hangouts thing is driving me nuts. There you go. By the way,
All right.
This is what I was doing instead of work on Monday.
Well, I think your graphs look great. Did you didn't they say on one of them you had to choose a different kind of graph?
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not kidding you. I think
I think
remember
it was just a
seeing that.
different style. I don't think
Is that a different chart style or different version of color? No.
Create an
No.
appropriate type of chart graph for each of the table. Do the following. Make sure, I don't see where it says one of them has to be different.
No, it just says assign a different chart style or a different preset color scheme. That's all, right?
Okay.
Oh, assign a different chart style.
Isn't it an or though? Chart style or?
Yeah, there's an or there.
Or a different preset color scheme.
Now, I know your charts are preset colors. I didn't think your other stuff was preset colors. I think you selected those on your own, in which case you're in trouble.
These? No, these are all preset colors.
I know.
You're giving me a hard time today.
No, not at all. Me, no.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions on 15 before we go ahead and take a look at 16?
I think 16 is where you're going to get more people with questions.
I believe it.
And because honestly, I think the instructions on 16 were not very clear and vague to the point of being very misleading. So,
Yeah, I redid 16 2 or 3 times because I wasn't comprehending the instructions. And
yep.
Oh,
They
great.
really, really need someone to go proofread all those instructions.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I didn't do too well on this one either. If I completely missed, they had to be different colors, and I got my whole first one wrong. So,
Well, to Kevin, to your point, this is an Excel class, not a English class. So,
All right. So we're going to start with the sales data for mini project 16. I'm going to go ahead and take the lead on this one. So the idea here is you have to loop in the price of these items if they purchased it. So if there's a 1 over here, the price needs to show up over here. If there's not a 1 over here, it needs to show up as 0. Now, if there's more than 3 1s over here, they get a discount on top of that.
Are you
it's not as hard as you think, guys.
Yeah. I'm being very facetious about this, but it isn't as hard as you think. And so let's actually take a look at this. So the first thing you're going to want to do is the very first part of this is going to be an if statement. And it's if the number on the left is greater than 0, what do we want it to do? So ignore this part for right now, and I'll explain why I put this in later, because the way it was worded in the end made it almost sound like it was potentially they could have bought some of these items more than once, which is something I went with at the end. So the idea in lesson 16 is they have finally brought in the index match. In this case, we can do it as a VLOOKUP. Casey, did you do this as a VLOOKUP or no?
For which one? The first rough proofing category?
Yes.
Let me get to it. I did a if VLOOKUP.
Okay. So the idea here is we need to find rust proofing over here in this add-on section. How did you do a VLOOKUP and get it to match the car?
So
VLOOKUP match, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you guys how to do this real quick. Not the way I did it. All right. So equals if. We're going to go over here. We're going to find rust proofing again. So if this column is greater than 0, we need to do a VLOOKUP. So what are we going to VLOOKUP? Hold on. The lookup value is what we're going to do first. So the first thing we want it to find is rust. Sorry. We actually want it to find this one. We want it to find rust proofing. Where do we want it to find rust proofing? We want it to find it over here.
We're supposed to add all those 13 columns, right?
Yeah, this is how you do the 12
So how
additional
did you get
columns.
this, or is this already pre-done?
The add-on info is given to you and the sales data is given to you. What you have to do is you have to add the price of these items and then the cost to us.
This is insanity.
A little bit. So
I mean, you have to remember, I don't have any Excel experience here.
I know, that's why I'm walking you through the formula.
Thank you.
So back to what we were doing. So if the number over here, so we're doing rust proofing, we added that. We're looking at rust proofing over here. If rust proofing is greater than 0, we want to do a VLOOKUP. We want to find this rust proofing over here. We're going to look in this table, and I'm going to lock this while I'm over here. We want it to find rust proofing here, and the column index number we're going to use a match for. So we want to match, back to the sales data, the type of car they purchased, the lookup array is going to be up here.
Sales data.
Actually, we need to include, because rust proofing starts over here, you need to start with that blank column. We're going to lock that down, and we want it to be an exact match.
Add on info.
And then I'm just going to close off my, oh, sorry. If it's false, we need it to return back a 0.
Wait, can you just stay there for one? Can you just stay there for 1 second, please?
Yep, hold up. I did something wrong though, so actually hold on.
0 and then close it, and then you. You put 2 zeros in between 2 parentheses on that.
Yep, give me 1 second here. Q4, W3. Oh, hold on. Why did I can tell you what I did here.
A5 H comma
The end.
Actually, I'm stumped. Casey, why did that not work?
No, you have to look at the end of your formula.
So this zero is for the match lookup. It means we want an exact match. This is the second half of the if statement, the value if false. So if K4 is not greater than 0, we want it to return back a 0. And in this case, it turned back 360, and I'm not sure why.
So are you doing this on the sales data page or on the dashboard page?
This is on the sales data.
Did you add the plus? So on mine, I had to add a +1 on my match,
Yeah.
so that I could get it to move over 1 column from the initial table.
That's why I had it on mine too.
I don't get why it's pulling this weird number though. 610 isn't even a numeric value.
Well, it's a numeric value. It's just not one on the chart.
Sorry, it's not one on the chart. I am completely dumbfounded, actually.
Worst class in the world. I'm just negative.
So another thing that I didn't do greater than 0. I did an =1 because they're not going to buy 2 rust proofings on 1 car. They're not going to buy 2 protections, fabric protections, or VIN etching. That doesn't happen. They're not going to buy 2 3-year extended warranties. So I just did an =1 as opposed to greater than 0.
And so we can go back to that because that's where I was misled in the directions. Because somewhere in there, the phrasing on it is almost to the extent of they could have purchased more, and you need to make it. It says that it needs to be the price times the number that they purchased, which is why I went with the greater than 0, and I did the K4 times this number. So even though it doesn't happen in this sheet, it actually makes it sound like you need to take into account if it does.
So I read that differently. I read that as if they purchase more than 1 option.
We should ask the teacher and maybe she'll reply back in 12 hours.
Dude, I'm just stumped where it's pulling 610 from. That's what I want to know.
You didn't put quotation marks around your 0 at the end.
Well, I want it to return back the numeric 0, not a string 0.
Okay.
This is why I use index match for everything. So they did allude to combining index match at the very end of this. We're going to let Casey do the VLOOKUP portion. I hate VLOOKUPs. I'm going to go through the index match just in case anybody actually did it this way. And then I'll let Casey share his screen and we'll go through that. So the other way of doing this is index match for those. Go ahead.
So this one isn't working, or?
The first one I did isn't working. I have no idea why. We're going to let Casey go through the VLOOKUP match here in a minute to see what I did wrong. This is an alternate way of doing it. And if, in my opinion, this is the correct way of doing it, but that can be debated later. And we're going to copy this over just so you guys can kind of get an idea of how this one looks. So index match, it's saying that if K4 is greater than 0 in the last one, you would go into the index. We are indexing all of the prices here because we know that our answer is going to be located within those prices. The first match is to find the row number. So we are looking at the rust proofing across the top, which can be found here. The second match is going to determine the column number, which we point it towards the car and tell it to look here. And what this is doing is it's going through and it's finding I need the rust proofing cost of the Ford Escape, and it's returning back the $600 over here.
Okay.
So they started on the index match in this, and that is one way of doing the formula. That's how I did the formula. The easier way of doing it is how Casey did it. And we're going to let him share his screen now. I'm going to stop sharing.
I don't want to.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
You need to show me what I did wrong on that one. I'm a little upset that
So
that
first
didn't
off,
work.
your colors were just totally jacked
I
up.
know, right? Let's start with that.
Here we go again.
Start screen share. Okay. So I'm going to walk through my formula. Oh, and look, you can see it today.
Yep.
Last week you couldn't. Must have
Okay,
been
is
a
this
spreadsheet.
before you start? Is this the same? You're teaching the same way, the same problem, but a different way, or
Yes.
okay?
So there's two ways that you could come to this answer. Well, there's several ways, but the two easiest ways are you can do an index match, or you can do a VLOOKUP match. Those are the two formulas we've learned in this class up to this point. That is your option for filling in the 24 additional columns that you need to add to the sheet.
Oh, heaven help me. Okay.
Now, so some of the things that, that I did here, unlike what Tony was talking about, is I didn't do the greater than 0 because of our interpretation on how the rules read. And to be perfectly honest, I think the course is complicated enough without trying to add any more difficulty into it. So to start, I started off with an open if, or an if open parentheses, and then K4. And what I mean by K4 is the very first rust proofing, because they even said in the directions we could just take this column and copy it down for our next 12. So I know this column is going to be the exact same order of the column that I'm trying to populate. So instead of trying to look this up with an index or anything else, I'm just going to put in K4. And because I want to drag this over to copy the formulas down, I'm not locking this in at all, because I'm going to not only drag it to the right, but then I'm going to drag it down. So this cannot be locked in.
Okay.
And I just did an equals 1. Because the reality is it's either going to be 1 or 0 if you look at the entire spreadsheet. This is where we had a different of interpretation of the rules, but that's what I did. I don't think it's going to matter that much. Okay, so that's the logical test. If K4 equals 1, and then what is the value if true? And the value if true, this is where I'm doing the lookup. So what I want it to do is I want to look up the cost of rust proofing, and then multiply that times the 1. So to find the cost of the rust proofing, I have to go to K3, right? Which is, I'm looking at the name rust proofing, and that's locked in at least on the row number because the columns are going to get drug over. And then I want to find that on my add-on sheet, or my add-on info sheet, which is down here, and I'm going A6 to H17. Oh, don't want to do that. Hang on, didn't mean to jump around on you. Which is A6 to A17. So it's going to look for rust proofing over here. And this is why I had to do the +1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, mine's the same way, Casey. +1.
But we'll get back into that. So that I'm looking for K3 rust proofing, and I'm looking for it in this array. Then I'm going to have, for the column index number, I have to do a match, because that's going to tell me what column to go over. And to match, I'm going to be looking for E4. Now, why did I say E4? Because if you look right over here, it tells me what the model is for this rust proofing. I don't have to do anything fancy. It's right here listed for me. So the E4, comma, let me get into it here. So that's the lookup value. I'm looking up escape. And then it's asking, where am I looking that up from? Now, my model is actually the lookup array right up here. All right, so that's the array that it's looking up. So it's looking up through there to find escape. So that's the model. And then the match type is 0, which is exact. So that's going to return the price amount associated with rush proofing and escape. So that's going to give me a $600 value. But let me get back to it, sorry. The +1 is because when it's looking up escape, if I left it like that, then it's going to just find and return the rush proofing value. But I need it to go +1, which is the 1 column over for the escape.
So can you take out the quotation marks on your last 0?
Yeah, if I wanted to, but I don't want to. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I know it bugs you now.
Looking at your graph, those are technically dollar amounts. So if you take it out, it becomes the $0 instead of the 0 text string.
Well, I think I actually did run into something when we're multiple. Oh, and well, when we start getting into the applicable discounts and such, it may have been there was something that actually returned an error, and it was because those weren't values. There was nothing in that column, and because there was nothing in that column, it returned an error. So by putting the 1 in there, or putting the 0 in the column itself, I avoided those errors.
Okay, +1, false, parenthesis, comma, 0, parenthesis. Huh. I haven't had the chance to look at the video yet. I have to do that.
So I think I know why there was a difference there, because I added the if count if K4 to V4 is greater than 0. If that count is greater than 3. So that's probably why it worked for me and didn't for you if they purchased nothing.
Hey, for me, guys, and just you can shoot me down if I'm wrong. I didn't even use an if statement there. I just did multiply by the cell, so either the 1 or the 0, and I think I got the same answers as you guys. So
hold on, can you share it? I kind of want to see what you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. So this one. So I just took it and multiplied it by K4. So this.
That's not a wrong way of doing it.
Just multiply it by 1 or 0.
Yep.
And just drag that across all the different rows and columns and
yep.
all the same. So I avoided the if issue there. So that was mine. So.
And so the way you did it goes along with, to a certain extent, the way I interpret it, that if for whatever reason that number wasn't 1 or 0, it would still calculate.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that is one way of doing it.
Okay.
So how did you go that one? Hold on. If the sum of K4 to V4 is greater than 3. Wow.
Probably more than I had to, but I got the right answer.
I'll take it. I mean, not that mine was pretty extensive also. So I did a large if statement. If, count if, sum, or sum.
Oh, you know why I did this? Because I ended up putting the discount up here and using the discount here.
Ah,
Can you go back to your cell you were just at? I want to see how you finished up.
Yeah, this one.
Thank you.
No problem.
You mind if I show you what mine looked like?
I don't know, man. Yes, absolutely.
So wait, where are you here? Okay.
So basically, I'm saying if the sum of the ones and zeros, or the sum of W4 through AH4, which is all of the options here, times the sum, if the sum of the ones and zeros is greater than, or 3 or greater, then I'm going to multiply it by 0.85, which is a 15% discount. If not, then 1, meaning that number stays the same. So the formula is a lot smaller.
Yep. So mine's way too extensive, and this is again because my understanding of the instructions. So I did a count of here to here, and the reason I did the count if is because hypothetically speaking, if they bought 2 fabric protections for whatever reason, that's still only 2 purchases, and so I wanted them to buy 3 separate items. So if the count if it's greater than 0 is greater than 3, I want it to sum the prices times the 85, or else sum the total cost.
Yeah, honestly, Tony, I think you way overthought that. I don't think that they would want us doing something that convoluted and complicated for this particular project. Especially when they're telling us, oh, and remember, guys, keep it simple. 0 times something is still 0, right? They're wanting us to think very simple.
I'm gonna have to go back and reread it. But when I read it, to me, it sounded like you had to take into account that, like, hypothetically, they could have bought the nitrogen film for the tires more than once, or the door edge protection. They could have bought more than 1 exhaust tip, depending on what exhaust tip they wanted. More than 1 set of wheel locks. That's actually a common thing. So. Yeah, I went through here and everything was 1 or 0, but I was like, the way I read the instructions made it sound like you had to account for if it wasn't 1 or 0. But anyway, so back to this. Once you complete the price to the customers, you do the same thing with the cost to the customers. It's pretty much the same exact formula, but instead of using this table, you are now using this table. Once you get those, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I haven't switched to Anthony.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
So you have to add the 12 columns twice. You also, 12 columns twice. There you go. So the price to the customer and then the cost to us as a business. So when you go to the cost, it's the same exact formula. The difference is instead of up here, you're going to point to this table down here. The formulas and everything else are the exact same. It's just where you're getting the answer from is different. The add-on costs, you don't have to take into account a discount here because these costs are already discounted. And then you just do the total cost, which is the cost of the car, all the way over here, the base cost, plus the add-on cost, and you get your total cost. So now we go to the dashboard. The dashboard is a little bit more fun.
So hang on, I'm going to interrupt you real quick, Tony. I just read through the instructions number 2, and I think you've completely misread it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it says 12 columns showing the cost for each of the 12 different add-on options. Again, only show the cost if a 1 is entered in the applicable column.
Of course.
So I think you were just really overthought it.
Yeah.
Which is fine because your spreadsheet would be a better business model in case they did sell something, right? But sorry.
It's all good. Like I said, this is the fun of multitasking and doing this while at work and dealing with.
Hey, are you in a Pakistan class? If not, I don't want to hear it.
No, fundamentals of science, which is probably just as bad right about now.
Oh, I loved that class.
I'm mad at myself because when I went on vacation, the internet on the boat, mind you, I paid $150 for internet on the boat, wasn't good enough to actually load the exam. And because I missed that exam and the teacher would not give me an option of making it up, the highest grade I can get in that class is a C right now. So I'm a little.
Dude, that sucks.
With the next grade, you will cut out.
A C as in Charlie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, my GPA that I get in these classes, because my company pays for these classes, affects my overall ranking for the year as an employee and affects my bonus at the end of the year too. So now because my overall GPA will drop because of that class, my bonus will drop. So
Oh no.
that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I'm a little upset.
So
All right,
your,
so
your
back
total
to
cost of ownership for this class just got a lot more expensive, right?
exactly. All right, moving on.
So, hey, just on a good note, I just selected the same things you selected in our data matches. So
Nice.
Hey, I have a problem with my pivot tables. I
On number
can't,
15?
yeah, sorry. I can't get it to show like that little box over to the side.
Oh, you can't share your
Like
screen either.
everything.
You have to tell it, you have to turn back on the field list.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll tell you where it's at. Under Analyze, so click on the pivot table, hit the Analyze tab, and show the field list, and it should show back up.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Cool. All right, Casey, take it away.
take what away?
I see you're sharing your screen. Take it. Oh, that's
Oh, that's just because that's the screen I've got up. Several of us are sharing.
Casey, take it away.
Take it away. All right. Does anybody not know how to create a validation list? All right. That's good. That's all these are. I will say this, though, to make sure that spelling and things were correct. Oh, little tidbit down here when we get into all the salespeople. What I did is I actually copied the entire list of salespeople onto my add-on information sheet, then selected all that data and eliminated duplicates so that that was the easy way for me to get the validation list.
What was
Same
the
way
way
I
you
did it.
What was the way you eliminated the duplicates?
So under, was it data?
Data.
Remove duplicates right here. You see that?
Yeah, that would have saved me a ton of time. Okay.
Type their names in.
And then I just typed in January and February across the top and pulled those over because I didn't want to misspell something because I'm really good at that. And that's what
I just did January and January plus 1.
yeah, see, I don't even trust myself to do that. I just do it the quick and easy way to create my 2 validation lists. Anyway, and of course the validation list for Explorer and extended warranty you can pull off of your data sheet,
Add-on.
your add-on sheet. So let me unlock because it was protected. All right. Again, this is where we're doing just the very basic VLOOKUP match formulas that we went over in the exercise. The VLOOKUP is the first thing I'm looking up is I'm actually doing this a little bit different or reversed. Instead of looking up the Explorer first, I'm looking up the 5-year extended warranty because it's a VLOOKUP, not an HLOOKUP. So I'm looking for the 5-year extended warranty on this page, this sheet. So it's going to come down and find that. And I could have renamed these columns. I didn't choose to. Sorry. You can.
I think that's the only ones I did.
I did the model on the sales data, but I didn't do it on those because it's just such a small column and not a lot of stuff going on, so I didn't worry too much about it. So it's going to look for the extended warranty, and then I need to put in a match. And the match is going to be back here on the dashboard sheet, D4. So I'm matching my Explorer. And where am I matching it? I'm matching it under my, let me make sure I'm not in my formula here. I did rename those to model, so I'm matching it to model. So it's going to look for Explorer. So it's going to find Explorer. It's going to find 5-year warranty and return the value of $3,000, which is what it's done.
Okay, so add-on info, and then you have I'm sorry, I haven't looked at this yet.
So I'm just going to tell you guys, instead of trying to write or copy the formula down, you can watch the video again, or you can actually just do a screen capture real quick. If, just for notes purposes, if you want to come back and review my formulas, that might be a lot faster and you don't run the risk of making, misspellings or mistakes.
Okay.
Oh, and this little +1 over here, it's the same reason that I talked about it on the other side, so that it would actually go 1 over from whichever one it was. I can't remember which, the rest proofing, or from from this column. I had to go 1 over for that.
I'm gonna call out Kevin. Congrats on the if error statement. Looking nice. I did the same thing.
I just can't stand those errors, man. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, the
It's
div
gotta go
zero
away.
bothers me the most.
Yeah.
What'd you pull an error on?
These ones here. Just any of these ones, the div 0 one.
No, I mean, which combination did you pull a div error on?
It was on this one. Like if I had my vehicle model and my add-on option blank,
Yep.
then it gives you a error on these columns here.
So in your validation list, why do you have a blank in there?
This one, just because I didn't put anything in there.
Oh, okay.
You can delete out, even in a validation list, you can delete out the contents of the cell, and it will take that as an acceptable, even if it's not in your validation list.
Gotcha. So then going back to the sheet, you're going to find the price. Once you get the price and you've checked it to make sure that it's right, the cost formula is going to be exactly the same. You're just going to have to shift from one to the other. So instead of looking at model, I'm looking at what I've named cost mod, which is the cost of the modifications, which is down here. These are all your cost prices. These are your pricing and your costs. So I called this cost mod and went from there. Profit is a really complicated formula. You're going to take your H4 and subtract H5. I need to go back. I'll go back over that if I need to, guys, because I want you to make sure. I'm not teasing. I don't want to make it sound like I'm teasing you guys. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Sarcasm is one of the many services I offer. And then, so make sure under gross margin percentage that you're dividing your profit margin by your price to get your profit margin or your gross margin percentage. Hello.
Sorry, I thought I was on mute.
You know what bugs me? This bugs me. Hang on. There. No, that bugs me too. I don't like that either.
Wait, what bugs you?
How that one is not, because these are all set up in accounting.
Uh-huh.
And so the one is not, because it's not accounting it's not an accounting number. So to center it still doesn't look right. You see?
Yeah, that's why I did it as currency instead of accounting on this one.
But that's not a oh, you mean these as currency?
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And actually, hold on. I'll show you what I did. I actually separated it with a space. Let me show you again. Bro, you better get out of my soda.
No.
So I put a gap in between it and made it its own separate box, total unit sales.
Yeah.
Just because my OCD was going a little haywire on this one.
Well, I made the picture exactly like they said in the video. Your spreadsheet should look like this.
The one thing I did differently is I added in this gap here.
I do like that. And I also
I
like
added
the
in
border
the
that you put on
sideline.
there. Yep. I like the borders.
I didn't like that this line went all the way to it, which is why I added that extra gap right there.
Are you the kind of guy whose vegetables can't touch each other on the kitchen plate?
Nothing on the plate can touch each other.
See, I knew it.
Oh my gosh, you're like my brother. He has to have his meat on his plate, then go back and have the potato, then he has to go back and get the vegetable.
I prefer them to be stacked on top of each other because then it's like layers and I'm digging through. It's the best.
See, I will do that. If it's an option, I will get the items that are for dinner one item at a time, and I will eat it separately before I go back up and get the next part.
Tony, I'm in all seriousness. Are you OCD?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I've diagnosed OCD and narcissist. The two best things to be.
Well, I think you're awesome. So, but then of course your response would be, well, of course I am.
I already knew that. Tell me something I don't know.
You don't know what's in my pocket.
True that.
Win one for Casey. Oh no, that would be win two. I've already won one.
Yep.
So
you already
anyway.
ruined my whole. I'm not even going to turn in 15 now. It looks like crap. I'm just going to put in the notes. I did 15. Please see the video. Casey ruined everything. I'm not turning it in.
I don't know that Casey eating your homework is a valid excuse. All right, so back to the total units. So again, the Larry and the May, that's going to be the exact same way of setting up any other validation list. Total units sold, this is a real simple count if S function. So you're just going to count, and then I've named the salesperson's comma D12, comma month, comma D14. So basically I'm counting if it's the salesperson says Larry and if the month says May. And I return that value. And then total sales is instead of a count if is a sum if for the exact same features that we just, and making sure that instead of, basically you have to tell it what you're going to add up. So here I'm adding up total sales, which is something that I've renamed in my sales data to all my sales prices, total sales, the discounted sales, total cost. So there it's your total cost from your sales data page, looking at these two features. And then your total margin, which again is real simple, just your total sales minus your total cost. There's your margin. And then your total margin percentage is your total margin divided by your total sales. All right, so
Yes.
we'll now open the floor to questions.
I don't have any. I'm just going to have to get going so I can complete these graphs and hand in my 15.
Me too.
Who is the one that's recording right now?
I am.
Okay.
I got it.
Kevin, you're the stud, dude.
I'll send it out after we're done here.
Alrighty, man. Well, if nobody else has anything, let's call it a night.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Are you guys? Are any of you going to be available Saturday morning if I have a question?
I should be.
You know, in all honesty, Saturdays are the absolute worst day. For those of you that have called me on Saturday, you know I'm usually out somewhere buying something. That's my only day of the week for the family to go shopping and get our groceries and stuff. So,
I have a question. I wasn't clear. Are we only having the exam due Wednesday, or we have the assignment and the exam due Wednesday? It wasn't clear on the assignment.
let me look it up real quick. I think at least when it came like this last time, the assignment the mini project wasn't due until Saturday. But let me check.
Yeah, I think it's just the.
Yeah, there can't be two things. It will kill me off.
Yeah,
I'm in
just
there.
the
Let
exam.
me look. So the exam is due on the 22nd. And the mini project is due.
Nothing. It doesn't say.
Well, then hang on. Let me go to the calendar because the calendar will have it.
It just says like due date 3 or 2. Like,
And let's see, today's the 15th. So
Sorry, guys. It's 11 o'clock for me.
So the assignment 26 controls availability ends on the 22nd as well. But that's assignment controls. That's not the mini project. Mini project 17 is not due until the 29th, according to the calendar.
The 29th?
29th? That's a whole extra week.
Yeah, I know, but there is an assignment due on Wednesday, but that's called 26 controls and availability ends.
That's the actual assignment that you have to watch the video and do the Excel sheet. So the mini project's not due till the week after. That's weird.
That's what, well, hang on.
That would be really nice on Thanksgiving week.
Can you, well, and I think that's probably why. Can you see my, do you guys have the ability to see my screen on the calendar?
Whoa, we're going.
oh, what do
Hang
you?
on. Wow, now it keeps doing it. Hang on. Let me bring that over here. Stop. Why aren't you moving? I was just trying to see which one of you could actually have. Oh, you know why? Because my Hangouts and my calendar might be on the same. Yeah, let me do something real quick. See if this helps. There we go. So right there.
The 29th is a mini. So just
Our next mini project isn't due until the 29th.
Cool.
So we don't have, and the mint green color is the
This one.
Excel class. So there's nothing due until after Wednesday of next week. There's nothing due until the following Wednesday.
Awesome.
16 is due Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
That's the exam due the day before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have Saturday, the exam, and then nothing due and for a week.
Not
what it
for
looks
this
like.
class.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank
See
you.
ya.